week of growing together, where we grow together in our faith, our family, and our friends. We're back again, and we're here to continue talking about integrity. And remember that integrity is choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. So far, we've learned about Daniel and what it means to stand up for what we know to be true. And last week, I told the story of my own family and what it means to have integrity even when we make mistakes. But this week, we get to visit a character that we were talking about last month, Elijah. And what happens with Elijah when he encounters a man called Naaman. But before we do that, let's get a reminder of what our monthly memory verse is. And to do that, let's check in with our friend Ben.
Today's memory verse is, anyone who walks without blame walks safely, but anyone who takes a crooked path will get caught. Now let's think of a different way to memorize a memory verse this week. A way that I like to do it is you repeat it to yourself, then you repeat it to different people, whether it's your parents, your brothers and sisters, or your friends. Because then not only are you knowing it, but then other people are knowing it too.
Yeah, and so far we've heard about stories that benefit us when we practice the act of integrity. But today we're going to learn a story of the consequences that come when we don't show integrity, when we actively choose to lie. And to get our story started off today, we're going to crack open our Bibles to 2 Kings chapter 5. And where our story starts off is with the prophet Elijah. That's right, we heard about him a few weeks ago. And right now, unfortunately, the Israelites are not doing a very good job following the word of God. And in fact, they're at war with a nation called Aram. But we're going to hop in right now, and Elijah is with his assistant, and his name is Gehazi. And we'll get back to them in just a minute. But now I want to share with you a new character, and his name was Naaman. And he was a brave soldier that fought for the nation of Aram. And they were against the Israelites. And while they were conquering parts of Israel, they were capturing some of the Israelites. And one of them happened to be a young girl. And this young girl noticed that Naaman had a pretty gross skin disease. And she told him about this prophet named Elijah who was over on the Israelite side that could probably heal him. Naaman was so excited at the possibility of being healed, he went straight to his king and told him of what the girl had said. And the king gave him permission to go over there and see if you can find this prophet Elijah. And in fact, he even sent Naaman with a letter from the king himself asking for his help. And so that's what Naaman did. He went over to Israel, he met with the king of Israel, he handed the letter over from the king of Aram asking to heal Naaman, and the king of Israel was not very happy. He was all like, "I'm not God, I don't have that kind of power, what do you want me to do about it? Are you trying to fight me right now?" And while the king was getting very upset, Elijah overheard what was going on, and he sent a message to the king telling him, "Send Naaman to me, and I'll see what I can do." And so the king gave Naaman Elijah's address, and Naaman was off to go meet Elijah. The letter told Naaman to go wash himself 7 times in the Jordan River, and then he would finally be clean. And you'd think Naaman would be excited about that, but he wasn't. He was angry. He was sure Elijah was going to come out, maybe wave a magical wand over him, maybe rub some ointment onto his skin, but he didn't. He told him to go wash himself in a river. And Naaman was about to march himself all the way home with a real grumpy face on him.
Oh, he said he was gonna heal me. He was supposed to heal me. Why didn't he do anything about it? I want to be healed.
But luckily, some of Naaman's servants that were with him convinced him to just give it a shot. And they went down to the Jordan River. He washed himself 7 times, just like the letter had said. And just like Elijah had promised, Naaman was clean. I'm clean, I'm clean, I'm clean, I'm so clean, clean. Naaman was so excited that he went back to say thank you to Elijah, and he tried to offer him gifts as a way to say thank you. But Elijah was a kind man and said, no. don't worry about me. I'm glad you're healed. By all means, go home and be healed." And Naaman was so excited that he promised from there on out that he would worship only the God of Elijah. And you'd think that's the end of the story, but it takes a turn from here. Because remember Elijah's servant Gehazi that I mentioned before? Well, he was there, and he was kind of upset because he thought that Elijah should have accepted the gifts that Naaman was trying to give him. And so Gehazi decided to sneak off and try and go catch up with Naaman. And when Gehazi finally caught up to Elijah, he told him a lie. He told Naaman, "Well, actually, Elijah does want some of that stuff. In fact, he wants 75 pounds of silver and 2 articles of clothing." And Naaman was still so excited that he was healed and happy to give out gifts. He gave Gehazi twice as much of that to bring back to Elijah. But when Gehazi got back, he didn't tell Elijah. And in fact, he had hidden what he had gotten from Naaman. And Elijah, being a smart and wise prophet of God, knew that Gehazi was up to something no good. And when Gehazi got back, Elijah asked him, "Where have you been?" And Gehazi lied again. He told Elijah, "I haven't been anywhere. I've just kind of been hanging out here. You just haven't seen me around." But Elijah knew that Gehazi was lying, and he knew that he had taken things from Naaman that didn't belong to him. And Elijah said to him, "Since you lied to me and you stole from Naaman, that now you are going to have the same skin disease that Naaman came here with in the first place." And Gehazi was not happy about that. In the end, Gehazi had won some new pieces of clothing, but unfortunately broke the trust he had with Elijah and ultimately had to live the rest of his life with that skin disease. And turned out to be a prime example of what not to do, what it looks like to not show integrity and to suffer the consequences of it. Because that brings us to our bottom line today. That when we come to moments with a crossroad and we have the choice to tell the truth or to tell the lie, that we always choose the truth. Because as we've seen with previous stories, that when we do tell the truth, that we're able to mend our relationships, that we're able to make things right again. But today we learn that when we don't tell the truth, when we choose to lie, when we choose to take things that are not ours, that there are going to be consequences. And while I hope that none of us end up having a skin disease because we chose to lie, that even when we lie today, there are always going to be consequences. Things like broken relationships, bringing sadness into somebody else's life and ours. And just like we saw today, Gehazi lost the trust of Elijah. And we too can lose the trust between the people that we love when we choose to not tell the truth. And so today I hope we remember this cautionary tale, that when we choose not to tell the truth, that there are going to be consequences. And sometimes those consequences are going to be bigger than anything we can bear or work out to fix. That Jesus calls us to love one another, to love our neighbors. And when we're loving our neighbors, that can't come with telling lies. Because when we tell lies, that breaks down relationships, it hurts people, and it breaks the trust that we have with those that we love. And so before we go today, I want to leave you with a question, something to think about every moment that comes by where we have the choice to either tell the truth or tell a lie, no matter how big or small. So what's our question today, Ben?
The question of the day is, have you ever had to pay the consequences for telling a lie? Now this can be a little consequence for telling a small lie or a big consequence for telling a big lie. But lying is never good, and you almost always get punished for it. So try to avoid lying, because nothing ever good comes out of it.
All right, go ahead and think about that. That's our show today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you for joining us today and growing together. Don't forget to hop onto our Facebook group more questions and videos come up throughout the week. It's called NLC Growing Together. Go ahead and find us on Facebook, join our group, and continue our conversations throughout the week. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time.